and gentlemen, to the RDFL Footy Show for another week off the back of one of our more popular and more successful shows last week. Pretty entertaining as well, even. A couple of funnies going on there. We liked it very, very much, but we're going to try and do similar again this week and entertain you here on the RDFL website. Sean Kelly's my name. Joining me, not just Chris Yeendy this week, but also Killer is with us as well here on the RDFL Footy Show. Welcome, Yeendy, and welcome, Eleanor.
Always glad to be here week in, week out, and especially with snow on the horizon this week. Good reason to get out and enjoy the good stuff, which is footy.
Yeah, it certainly is. Get out and about now because there's going to be snow on the Macedon Rangers this week without any doubt about it. Speaking of the Macedon Rangers, that leads us into our first talking point for the week. The Macedon, not so much the Macedon Footy Club, but the team that they played on the weekend, Romsey. Another close loss to the Redbacks. They lost by 3 points against Macedon. Again, they had their chances to win. What that does now is it puts them 2 games, though, behind 7th place Wallen. They're just about out of finals contention, just maybe through that inability to win the close games.
Yeah, well, it's to lose 4 games up by 9 points or less. They're sitting on 4 wins at the moment. They could have easily been 8 wins. I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, whereas you look at Macedon, they've won about 3 games by that margin.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, clubs, they gain confidence in winning those sorts of games, and for Macedon's sake, that was one that they needed to win because you've got to have big, well-versed in winning those ones. Whereas Romsey, just the inability to finish off, and that's been the case this year.
Yeah, it certainly has, unfortunately, for Romsey. They need to do some work now heading into the finals, but they've got a pretty tough run. We'll talk about their game this week, which is as hard as they come against Diggers Rest. They've then got Rupertswood after that in the split round. Round 15, they've got Centrals at home. Round 16, they face Sunbury Kangaroos at Boardman Reserve. And round 17 is Lancefield at Lancefield, so there's no favours there at all for the Redbacks if they want to make finals. They've got to do it the hard way now. They've got to win every game and rely on other teams losing.
Definitely, but the exciting thing is they played a top side against Macedon last week, and while they played them when they were in reasonable touch as well. So they've been able to run with those sides. So they're more than competitive, and if they had won both those games, they'd be roaring back into contention, and they'd be able to challenge this weekend.
They are indeed, but as we can see on the ladder that's on the screen at the moment, talking point number 2 is being competitive counts for not much at this time of the year if you don't get the 4 points. We have a look at that later and you can see a real divide starting to separate. The top 3 is just about sorted. There's a couple of games gap there. Then there's a couple of games back, obviously, as we spoke about, between Wallen and Romsey. It's down to 7 teams for 6 spots for mine. It's going to be really interesting to see how those teams face off against each other in the last few rounds of the season.
Absolutely. It appears the top 3 is getting very much well sorted. It's there's 2 games separating between 3rd and 4th.
Look out! I don't know if Eleanor agrees with this. She thinks that there's still some time to go in there because she's got upset with that.
Yeah, I think she's.
You all right there, Killer?
Romsey's one of her favourite teams, so I think that might be half a chance.
Could be indeed. Talking point number 3 this week is one where we actually go back a little bit to this past Saturday here at Arnold's Creek Recreation Reserve. What a fantastic day it was. Celebrating Multicultural Round and also the great multicultural day that Melton Centrals have put on here.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding. Congratulations to all those involved in making the day a huge success, and great to see the new jumpers as well for that particular day there by the Centrals. I know a lot of hard work was put into it, as well as all the pre-game and during the game functions.
Yeah, it was indeed, and we've actually got a special video package that we put together on the day. Thanks very much, of course, to AFL Goldfields and to the Melton Centrals Footy Club, and in particular Liam Wilson, for giving us a bit of a chop out with some of the footage on the day. Sit back and have a look at this, a celebration of Multicultural Round in the Riddell District Football League.
It celebrates multiculturalism in football in general. We're getting a lot of people from diverse backgrounds and communities to our Come and Try Day today and our luncheon. And it's about celebrating multiculturalism in football and raising awareness to the multicultural communities in Melton about the football that exists for people to be able to participate in. We're having everything here from today, from Bhutanese dance groups to our AFL Multicultural Ambassadors. We've got a guest speaker who's a VFL Multicultural Ambassador. So it's a great celebration of multicultural football in general.
Yeah, it really means a lot, like growing up not knowing much about football and then being invited to one of these events just to speak about where I've come from and what it's like to play AFL or potentially play AFL or play in the VFL was it's a really good opportunity for him.
This jersey that me and my other companion made together represents my culture and everyone else that's diverse in my team. Turtle behind me represents peace, love, and family. It's really good to let everyone know what I've designed, me and my companion, and just to show everyone my culture.
Sam and Junior have organised a haka for the pre-game for the seniors, which is going to be massive.
It's going to feel really special because I'm showing my background in front of everyone, to my team, my family, outside. Just everyone's going to be there watching me doing my own thing for my culture.
Now look at Multicultural Round in the Riddell District Football Netball League. How good was that haka? I tell you what, Junior had the absolute, he was up and about on the weekend. He had the shoulders back, the chest out all day long. Fantastic work by him. Sammy Appano, everyone at Melton Centrals for putting that together. Just a great day to be a part of.
Absolutely, man. And if that doesn't get the hair standing on the back of your neck, nothing else will.
You're exactly right there. Hair standing on the back of the neck, though, is what's going to happen in the Riddell District Football Netball League this weekend. Round 12, very much starting to work our way towards the pointy end of the season. And it starts this weekend out at the GGO, the Gilbert Gordon Reserve, as the Woodend Heskett Footy Club take on Wallen. Danger game for the Magpies because we know the Hawks at home, which obviously this game transferred from the start of the season. They swapped the home and away games around from what was on the fixture. So Woodend definitely playing this game at home. Wallen in that mix for the finals. They'll start as favourites, but they can't afford to take the Hawks lightly.
They can't, and the Hawks' form hasn't been the most pleasing over recent weeks. They've started strongly before fading away in a few recent games, which is unlike them. So that week off this past week is going to give them an opportunity to really do some homework and really get their confidence up and finish the year strongly. Their finals hopes are pretty much run its race.
Yep.
Now it's, as Dougie would always say, a chance to upset the apple cart here and maybe put Wallen out of a chance to put them out of the top 6.
Yeah, exactly. They can play spoilers for the rest of the season. Woodend Heskett, a great chance for them to start this week. Can they get up?
I don't think so in this case. Wallen, they finished the game strongly against Guildford last week while they didn't get the result they liked, and they were about 5 or 6 goals down earlier on in the game, and they sort of pegged it back for a little bit there, so they'll take that confidence into this game.
They will indeed. Macedon at home again this weekend against the Melton Centrals. The Cats going very nicely at the moment. And Centrals, whilst they didn't get the win against Diggers Rest on the weekend, I thought they showed in patches very, very competitive football. And the fact that it's come very late, but they're starting to get to know each other a bit and starting to really start to play some good footy.
Yeah, absolutely. And they say you're only as good as the last quarter you played, and the Centrals played a very good last term. They kicked 5 goals as opposed to Diggers Rest 6, so they're able to run with them a bit there. And whereas most games they would probably get blown away there in the final term, so that's great for them. Aquilina, great to see him up forward kicking goals. The Cats, well, we had a good look at them nice up close and personal last week, and we'll be seeing them again this week. I think they conceded 6 goals in a row either side of 3/4 time, and Romsey hit the front, but credit to them, they backed themselves to finish strongly and the backman held firm, so that was a really good game for them. They desperately needed that win there, it was an understatement, and this shapes up to be a really interesting clash. If Macedon can get that to a sort of 6, 7, 8 goal win, maybe even more, then that'll really give them a lot of confidence heading towards the business end of the year.
It will indeed. They have to start favourites here, don't they, the Cats?
They do.
They do indeed. Big game at Boardman Reserve this week as well. The Sunbury Kangaroos taking on Rupertswood. It's 6 versus 4 4th, I think, at the moment, and this is going to be an absolute ripper. Two local rivals, both looking to consolidate spots in the top 6. Both really need a win here.
Absolutely. Rupert's Wood will go into this game as favourites. Their form has been simply sensational. The Sunbury Kangaroos, well, they've been a bit up and down like a yo-yo, but they've had the ability to turn it on when they need to. And this is the game they must turn it on because, as we've highlighted in recent weeks, Shawnee, their run home isn't too flash. So if they can get one here, this is going to give them a lot of confidence because they've faced Diggers Rest twice in the home stretch.
They have the advantage of having the week off last week and going out and watching Rupert's Wood against Rockbank, so you're going to learn a lot about Rupert's Wood offensive structure in a game like that as well, which I reckon Jared Dixon would have really had a good look at.
Absolutely, and he'll use that to his advantage and hopefully get the troops fired up and ready to go. And they'll be going in as underdogs, but I think they're going to be a big chance here against Rupert's Wood, who have shown a lot of potential in season 2016.
Tipping Rupo?
Yeah, go
Just, you're not all that confident with it.
No, well, I think the Sunbury Kangaroos can cause some trouble here, so I think Rupo over don't adjust.
Interesting game to keep an eye on, as will this next one, ladies and gentlemen. Riddell taking on Broadford. You've got a 7-game winning streak coming up against one of the form teams in the competition this year. 5th Broadford, 2nd Riddell, both teams absolutely flying at the moment. And of course, these two teams meet up in a final last year, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Riddell favoured to go all the way in many cases. As soon as they hit Broadford, it was good night nurse.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Riddell went out in straight sets, and it was the game at the Sunbury Kangaroos that got them done in now.
Yep.
But both teams ending this game 7 wins in a row, and we've said week in, week out, well, you need to have a reason to not back both those sides, and now they face up against each other.
Correct.
That's a big test, and Broadford, many are saying they're the most informed side in the competition because even though while Diggers Rest are on top and undefeated, Broadford have been on a giant winning streak, and they've just played some brilliant footy. But I think the Bombers, they are one of the most even balanced sides in the competition. I can't find a weakness in their lineup.
And I think that's the good thing about them is that if Brian Ruffle has a bad day, Jimmy Nolan pops up, Hayden Ross goes around, and if they're both quiet, he'll kick goals as well. They're that even across the ball, whereas Broadford can have their ups and downs a little bit depending on who's in the side. That being said, Rex Hickey coming into that side really balances them up as well.
He certainly does there, and either Lance Piccioni or Brody Holland or both of them, they're in the side. They had a bit of hardness into the midfield there, but it's at Riddell's home deck. And
they don't lose there often.
They don't, and we're going to expect it to probably be a little bit heavier to what Broadford are used to, and I think Riddell will use those finishes very well. And we're looking at little things here that might give a team an advantage, and I just think that might be it.
Diggers Rest taking on Romsey at Bloomdale Oval this weekend. Diggers Rest, really good chance to continue their winning streak, and this would probably give them a degree of satisfaction, a victory here, you'd think, Diggers Rest. Even though Romsey are far out of it and everything like that, and Diggers Rest undefeated, a win here for Diggers Rest basically puts Romsey's season done and dusted. They can't make the finals after that. And after the last couple of years, that'd give, I reckon, Diggers Rest a little bit of satisfaction.
It definitely would, and again, you take those little things out, which is really important, and it'd be great for them. Romsey will go into this game probably missing a few key stars as well, which is unfortunate for them because they need the strongest side as possible.
Yep.
Look out for Jack Coburn. He played a really good game last week across half-back. The young 17-year-old, he's still eligible to play under 18s. And he made his debut on the weekend, showed some great promising signs. And that's what Romsey have done very well this year. They've blooded in some youngsters, and they're under 18 and a half side, had their first real big win against a finals contender there in Masson on the weekend, and that says a lot about where their club's going. So their long-term future is looking very positive, and while they've won the last 2 premierships, they've had success this year, and that's due to a great local talent. So they'll be competitive, but Diggers Rest, they've just, again, what can stop them?
Can't tip against them, especially this week. They're flying at the moment, Diggers Rest. It'll be interesting, obviously, to see. They're putting their war chest together for another tilt at it for the 4th year in a row. And really, we don't start judging Diggers Rest until about 6 weeks' time. So they'll win this game, and they will be going on to bigger and better things this year. The last game for the weekend, Rockbank taking on Lancefield. Lancefield just about done and dusted for their finals hopes at the moment, which will be disappointing for Tony Manning and his team because they promised a lot this year, and they've shown in patches that they are a very, very good side. You're going to see John Kent and Miles Dorman kicking a lot of goals this week, they have done this year. This is probably papering over a cracks again against Rockbank a little bit because Lancefield still have a bit of work to do. They've got some big games coming up to end the season, but this is a game they'll win comfortably, and they'll get some goals from their goal kickers. But what's happened with Lansfield so they've kind of drifted that far back out of contention?
It's probably been a bit like the Romsey case. There's been a few games where they've lost narrowly. They probably would have thought they would have beaten Wallen, beaten Broadford. They were up at half time against Riddell on the weekend in a low scoring camp. They're only 2 points down at 3/4 time. So they were definitely competitive. And that's probably the thing with the two teams over there, Lansfield and Romsey, is that a couple of results haven't been able to go their way, but you give that same squad another year of experience, another confidence boost there, and then they'll be fine there. So I think you're right. Yeah, so Lansfield, they'll go and do the job quite comfortably, and I think they'll take plenty of positives of what has been a solid season for them in 2016.
Yeah, they will indeed. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. That's all the time we've got for this week on the RDFL Footy Show. Yeendy, thanks once again for your expertise, and Eleanor, thanks for staying quiet for the majority of the show, apart from that one time when you didn't like what we said about Romsey, so you decided to spark up a little bit, but you've done very, very nicely, both of you. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate it, mate.
And we appreciate having you with us on the RDFL Footy Show for another week. We'll see you again next week right here on the RDFL website.